I'll continue with our final statements about some of the selected words found in the drills that Edna Coffin has given us. During the little break I had this morning, there was the word Hanukkah that came up in discussion. Because that word Hanukkah gets so misspelled in English, let me write that word on the board for the purpose of Hebrew Slavication and why the spelling in Hebrew should guide us on how to spell that word in English. The word Hanukkah is a common expressed word in English, like Passover is, like Yom Kippur is, like Rosh Hashanah is, but it's a question of the spelling. When it comes to spelling the word Hanukkah, watch my spelling. Underneath the chet, there's a chata patach. Underneath the nun, there's a kubutz. In the kaf letter, there's a dagesh, and so I write it out. This is the spelling of Hanukkah. If I were to write Hanukkah without vowels, I would write the same letters, only I would put a vav there to get across the sound of the U. I would then continue and write it this way. But it's the spelling with the vowels which interest me. The letter chet, as you notice, has a chatat patach under it. The chatafim, again, are half vowels. So you write a C with an ayin for the shvana, replaced by the chatat patach. I then continue with the next combination. The nun has a short vowel kubutz, and that kubutz is closed by dagesh hazak and the kav. So C ayin CVC is the first syllable. The kav is doubled, one K, another K, and so we have CV, and the last letter Hey is a vowel marker, a C in brackets. Spelling that word now in English, the chet letter is a CH. If you write the letter H, that's English. H in Hebrew is the letter Hey, as we went over the chart of Hebrew and its transliteration. So CH, followed by the nun letter, followed by the U letter, and then the kaf letter is doubled. So you add K, and then A, and then H. This is the proper spelling of the word Hanukkah. C-H, Hanukkah, N-U-K-K-A-H, Hanukkah. Okay, with that said, let me now go back to our Hebrew, where we left off, a few more words, and notice that the exercise, as if you have a book in front of you on page 24, drill number 11, is the two words that sound the same. The word tam and ta'am, that we did already. Another word I see is the word for Deborah and the word for bee, Devorah and Devorah. The accent on Devorah, the first syllable, is the proper name Deborah, and the accent on the last syllable is the word for a bee, B-E-E. Again, the both words are spelled the same. Distinction is where you put the emphasis. It's like the word bira and bira, spelled the same, but it's the accent that is forced on one syllable versus the other one that's regular that makes the difference. And so let's write that word down. I write the word Devorah. The Slavication will be the same for both words. It's C-I-N, C-V, first syllable, and C-V with C in brackets for the second. If I accent the first syllable, if I accent the second syllable, the first syllable, Devorah, accenting the first syllable, will be basically the word for Deborah, the name Deborah. Accent the second syllable, Devorah, is the word for bee. The same thing is with the next combination, Lachash and Lachash. Lachash and Lachash. Notice with the vocalized Hebrew, the word for whisper, accent on the first syllable, the patak short vowel open is accented, and the second word he whispered is the conjugation of the verb third person masculine singular and spelled differently, meaning chamatz, and then on the lamed, and the patak underneath the chet before the shin. Lachash, whispered, the noun, and lachash, he whispered. Again, when you see it spelled with vowels, you can see the difference. The word he whispered has the vocalization of the verb in the third person, masculine singular, with the accent on the second syllable, that kamatz. The word whisper as a noun is a short vowel, open syllable, and so gets accented. Short vowels should be part of a closed syllable. If they're open, they're irregular and are accented. Okay, then you have a list of other words. The word ratza and the word ratza. Again, the word he ran, right, or rather she ran, and then he wanted. Both words are spelled the same. One is the verb, past tense, third person feminine, and the other is the word third person, past tense masculine. But one is the word run and one is the word wanted. There are two different verbs here. One is the verb to run, the word vutz. The other one is the word to want, is resh salihe. And then you have other words. The word bira and the word bira, which that really we discussed with you. I'm looking at some other words here. I have the words, we'll take the word he asked, and the word step. Step is sha'al, and sha'al with an aleph. He asked. Let's get that word down. The word sha'al. Sha'al. As I say that word, the main thing is the spelling of it. Sha'al, the word step, S-T-E-P, is spelled with an ayin. Sha'al. The word to ask in Hebrew is shin aleph lamed. But the aleph and the ayin don't have a distinctive sound anymore. Furthermore, third person masculine singular vocalization is a kamatz, a patak between the pei poal and the ayin poal, and eventually the lamed poal. So in spelling, you can see a distinction, but in sound, they both sound the same. So you make the distinction by the syllabication. CV is the first syllable, short vowel open needs to be accented. The second syllable is CVC. The same thing here, CV and CVC. Only here you have an irregular syllable that needs to be accented. Here you have the traditional accent on the last syllable. Okay, as we now go further, I'm looking now at drill number 12 found on page 25. And here you have words like bahir and bahir. The word for senior, a senior, a bahir, and bahir, a light color. The spelling, again, is a spelling that gives it away. One is a chaf letter, one is a hey letter, as we now spell the word on the board. So maybe in pronunciation, you can tell there's a distinction. But then again, it's not that easy. Bahir and bahir, I'll grant you, there's a distinction in sound. The syllabication is both the same. CV is the first syllable, CV is the first syllable, second syllable CVC, and CVC. It's the sound, bahir and bahir. When you say bahir, can easily be spelled with a chet letter. Get it? So there are sounds of Hebrew which get confusing. It's like that word Hanukkah. Most people in English spell Hanukkah with the letter H. You want to spell with an H, put a dot underneath the H to get across the het sound, not the hey sound. But people don't really spend that time on that. We do in a grammar class, or in a class that emphasizes grammar. All right, I'm looking at some other words here. There are two words. One is translated as Cheom, chelem, and the other one is the word helen. What you have here is a chet and hey. That word chelem with the chet letter is a word you may not know. So the Israeli word helem, the word shock, is important. Short vowel, open syllable is accented. This word helem with a chet letter is only known to people who know Yiddish. Chelem, chelem in English transliteration, Cheom, and it deals with a lot of narratives and folk tales of the people of Chelm placed somewhere in Poland or or I don't know where it is actually, but probably those areas, and how they dealt with diaspora living. It's basically popular folk tales, the children of Chelm.
And Helem is a shock?
Yes.
Like news is the shock or like
A
shock
shock.
absorber,
Yeah, a shock.
like something shocking or something that's shocking news. A physical
Well,
jarring
I presume a shock.
yeah.
Yeah. But how many people know Chelm? And what's a typical story of Chelm? Well, for example, you have the full moon out there and you want to capture the beauty of the full moon. So you're told by the rabbi, bring out a whole basket of water and the moon reflects itself in that water. Now cover the basket over and you have the moon captured in your possession right now.
And this past
Let's try that again. No, no
this
laughter.
this past Saturday was Kiddush Levana. Saturday evening after
Yeah,
Moses Shabbos, we
right,
recited Kiddush Levana.
right. But the whole idea is the moon is reflected in a basket of water, whatever, and now you're told to cover it so it doesn't get out of the water, and you have now the moon in your possession. This is the children of Chelm. Now, Chelm stories are meant to be humorous. There's also a message it's meant to get across regarding the Gentile world in which we're living in, and the persecution, and how to deal with it. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, next word. The word for holes and for parents. Well, ain't that interesting? Horim and Horim. If you don't pronounce that word very well, you're going to come up with a little embarrassment.
Hoorah.
Wait a minute. Let's just first get down the word for a parent. The word for parent is horeh, masculine singular. Horah, feminine singular. And horim would be the word plural, parents. Now, Edna gives us the word horim, parents, and gives us another word, horim, where you have the het letter, and translates that letter with the het, not as parents, but as I double check our spelling, there's the word holes. How many people refer to their parents as horim? Maybe a child says horim. And I guess it's the same thing with other words. Anyway, the distinction between a hey letter and a het letter can be a distinction in the meaning of words and can be an embarrassment. The word horeh and the words horeh, the hey and the het. And she has other words here. The word halom for the word dream and halom with a hey, the word meaning to hear. Okay, one more page. Let's pick up a couple more words and that will be it. The word nahar, snore. We're now page 26.
Okay.
The word nahar with a het letter, snored, and nahar, a river. And it's interesting with the word river, Edna Coffin puts an accent mark over the hay, and for what reason, I don't know. Let me go over this a second. I'm looking at both words, nahar and nahar. I'm looking at the spelling of both words. Okay.
But the first one doesn't have an emphasis.
No, it does not. That's what I'm saying. Just 1 minute, we'll get there. The word to snore, past tense, masculine singular. We already showed you the formula. It's a kamatz, it's a patach. And so the nun has a kamatz, the patach. This is the third person, masculine singular, past tense. He snored. And now we have the word nahar. Is that what she has there? And we're double checking the spelling of it. And when she writes that word nahar, she has an accent mark over the hay. This is either a printing error, or if there's something behind why she shows the accent on the last syllable, I don't know why.
For river, it should not be there. The accent on the hay.
No, the accent is on the hay.
Oh, the accent is on the hay?
Yeah, the last syllable, nahar.
Okay.
If the accent were on the first syllable, na, then you would say nahar. She shows the accent on the second syllable. She doesn't have to show that. We should know that by now. How so? The kamatz is underneath the nun, CV, second syllable, CVC. Medial kamatz, closed syllable, accented. Maybe that's a way of saying if you think it's unaccented, you pronounce it as a short kamatz. I just find it interesting that it's rare for her to put the accent mark on the last syllable of a word. It's assumed that it always is. So it's either one of her students made a scribal error or just added it for some reason. Or there's another explanation which is not clear to me.
She just passes the buck and puts it on her students. The onus.
Oh, she could do that too. Okay, let's see some other words here. Then you have note the difference between her letter C in English is a tzadi, and the S letter. S, I guess, is a samach by her. Don't see what the problem is here. Eretz. All right, the word poison and country. Erez and Eretz. Okay, words where the S sound, which uses for the samech letter, and for the S for the samech and for the sin letter. Sil sail, for example, versus til sail. One with a samech, one with a tzadi. It's just a question of pronunciation. Okay,
Simha was happy. Samach.
let me see where you see the word.
At the bottom of 26 on the right hand column.
Okay, samach and samach, yes. One is a sin letter, an S sound, husamach, and samach, he grew. All right, let's just look at
And
it.
which one's flower?
Well, that's where the word flower
Flower
comes
is
from.
Simha. Okay.
Yeah, let me just get it down for a second. The first word, and with this will end the hour, the word samach, sin, mem, het. Notice my approach to words. You see the word, and any word that has the same root, the same shorish, is going to have some kind of contact in common. That word is shorish. By now, you know what I'm saying. Shorish is a singular noun. Shorish is like the word boker. The plural of the word shorish is shirashim, like boker is bikarim. From that sin memchet, I have the vocalization samach. Samach is the conjugation of these three letters as a verb. Samachti, samachta, samachat, and then the third person who samach, and samcha for the feminine, samachnu be the plural. It's the verb, he was happy.
Vesamachta. Vehagecha vehayisa achsameh. Vesamachta vehagecha vehayisa achsameh.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You're going with samach at one point, samachta, and then
What's correct?
wait. No. Samachta is the verb conjugated in the past tense, and then the word sameach is a present tense with a stolen patah. It's a pa'el form. We don't know any of this yet. Normally, the present tense would be a po'el form. Sho'el, sho'elet, lomed, lomedet. But you have also a pa'el form of verbs that don't govern a direct object at all. It's a state of being. Samech is the word. The last letter chet, following a frontal vowel, will have a stolen patah to glide as the last letter, said before the last letter, but written after it. But the main thing is, one is samach, and then she has the word samach. Let me just look at the two words that she has listed here. Samach is the verb to plant something. She translates to grow. Again, notice the vocalization. It is the third person masculine singular. One is a tzamach, from which we get the noun tzemach, which we already have seen. From this word here, you get a word like simcha, a joy. July 4th will be a simcha, a day of joy for Americans and for others. And then when it comes to, watch me now, when it comes to the present tense, samach is not someach, but sameach, whereas tzamach follows the poel form, and it's so me pata. He grows tzomeach. She's not interested in any of this grammar. It's the tzadi, a ts sound, and a sin in S sound. Let me go further, which shows derived nouns from it and conjugational differences. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next hour.